I love theater, especially when it can do things that the film cannot. In the theater, you hold out your hand like this and look up, and it's raining. This simple gesture is almost archetypal, it's metaphoric in a kind of way that the reality of film can't duplicate. I love film, but at the same time, theater has the magic of the metaphor. And the more I can capture that, the more I can develop it and extend it through my work, the more successful I think I've been. Finding a central metaphor for your work is key to taking your voice of who you are personally and what you want to communicate and putting it into that work so that it's just not, you're not just a traffic cop, you know? You're not just moving people around on the stage and saying lights up, lights down. And that means that through your research, through your background and education, through your understanding of the play, what you have done is create a metaphor for your production that will carry the artwork, and where the lighting and the acting and the directing and all of that contributes to become a whole that's greater than the sum of its parts. I think if I could talk to myself as a young beginning artist right now, I might say a few things. One is you learn by the mistakes you make. You don't learn by the victories that you have on the thing. And so being very honest with yourself. The one thing that I fear as a director is that I will think I have done a good production and I haven't. So being brutally honest with yourself from the standpoint of what you know works, is working, and what you know isn't working, and not deluding yourself that you've somehow created a great piece of art when you haven't. Don't be a pre-med major, but don't be a theater major. The most important thing that I got out of college was the fact that I was an English major, that I learned how to write, that I learned how to read and understand, that I gained a great appreciation for Shakespeare and some other playwrights. I understood the kind of world of art rather than just a very kind of narrow kind of theater world. Fall in love with things outside of the theater that will help you with your theater. That could be backpacking and traveling. For me, it was music. I had, in high school, I'd been quite a musician. I'd played in a couple of symphonies. And I found out that keeping up with the music and appreciating it was extremely important later in my career as I picked music for a show or as I directed a musical kind of production. So having that knowledge so I could really compete, you know, on a professional level. Just last week, I opened a production of Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus. I was familiar with the Renaissance, with iambic pentameter, with all of the technical and sort of unique word usages and choices that the Renaissance presents. But I said, okay, what can I do with this, my feeling about this production? And as I read it, I said, yes, this is a tragedy of Dr. Faustus, but it's also something else. It's like a carnival. I mean, here's Faustus turning invisible and stealing food from the Pope. Here's Faustus, you know, having his leg pulled off, so it's just a bloody stump. But it's all a kind of device. It's very theatrical. It's very much like a carnival. And that became my central image, the idea of the chorus being literally an MC Hawker, inviting the crowds in to see the show. The whole set became a carnivalesque, something that would be done at a cheap carnival in the 1930s, because I thought, Well, okay, what's the 1930s? It's kind of hell. It's hot, it's dusty, it's poor. Carnivalesque theatricality of it was there, and that meant a lot of humor, a lot of fast movement, a lot of excitement. And the challenge was to balance this against the theme of Faustus deciding to sign away his soul for 24 years of luxury from Mephistopheles. Because the important thing about directing is that you begin to delimit the choices that you have artistically under the covering of this central image or central metaphor. So I think if there's been anything that has driven me to individualize my own approach to the art, it's developing that particular artistic instrument.